Hi, my name is Justin Lair, and I chose to do my presentation on toxic coal ash pollution and its environmental effects on society, human beings, and other wildlife. So what exactly is coal ash? It's the waste material that's left behind when coal is burned and combusted in coal-fired power plants. This much waste material, which can be toxic to humans and wildlife, such as arsenic, mercury, lead, chromium, and other heavy metals. There are many disposal issues which of course come with this, since there's toxic waste, and which I'm going to get into as the presentation moves on. Coal ash can contaminate air, land, and drinking water, and there's various cases which have happened over the past few years, which I'll also get into as the presentation goes on. Coal ash contamination can lead to cancer, neurological effects, heart damage, lung disease, birth defects in infants, and various other illnesses. And it's the second largest industrial waste stream behind municipal garbage in the United States. So when it comes to land and air pollution, the Clean Air Act in 1970 really helped to mitigate air pollution because coal ash used to just spew out of smokestacks all over the country. Now when they moved away from air, it kind of went more towards land and land masses to cover up for this. This forced power plants to begin diverting the ash to ponds or lagoons. The EPA estimates in 2010 that there were about 300 coal ash landfills, and about a third of these were unlined, making them more susceptible to waste spills and contaminating local environments. When it comes to water contamination, the EPA estimates that there are 584 lagoons at coal-fired power plants which are used for toxic coal ash dumps. Now, about 2/3 of these lagoons were also unlined, which also makes them susceptible to harming the environment. Environmental scientists argue that any form of storage other than a lined landfill will continue to pose a threat to groundwater and locals around that. In addition to seepage and accidental releases, utilities can legally discharge wastewater from ash ponds into the rivers. So companies are actually legally allowed to do this, and this should be stopped. The first example is in Kingston, Tennessee. This was the largest environmental disaster of its kind in the United States, which happened in 2008. The Kingston coal-fired power plant uses pond water to dewater the fly ash and then store it as wet in dredge cells. There's an estimated 1.1 billion, that's billion with a B, gallons, which relates to 5.4 million cubic yards, or about 3,000 acres, 1 foot deep, of wet coal ash spilled when the earthen retaining wall of an ash pond gave way at this Kingston Valley Forge. When the EPA did tests of the water nearby, there were elevated levels of toxic lead and thallium, which can lead to the birth defects, cancer, and the diseases that I stated earlier in the presentation. Second example happened in Eden, North Carolina on February 2nd. Duke Energy, is a local company, dumped 60 million gallons into the Dan River located in Eden, North Carolina, which coated over 70 miles of this river in toxic sludge, harming wildlife and the drinking water around for locals. The Dan River also meanders past farms, which draw irrigation water from it and into the southern village. Residents in Danville and South Boston rely on the river for drinking water. There was a case where one of the locals was quoted saying he was grown up swimming around, fishing in that pond, and now he wouldn't even let his dog in there, let alone his child. North Carolina regulators also asked the judge to withdraw the proposed settlement, which would have allowed Duke Energy to resolve environmental violations by paying $99,000 fine with no requirement to clean it up, and they're a $50 billion company, so this is basically petty change to them. Now, there were 3 proposed solutions. One was a full excavation and relocation of the ash to a lined landfill, making it a little less susceptible to seepage. The second proposition was to install a cap that would cover the basins but not include the addition of any lining beneath the ash, so it would still be an unlined landfill. Now the third proposition was to combine the two methods as a hybrid involving partial excavation as well as a capping of the existing basins. But none of these plans have yet been put into place.